바둑판 위에 의미 없는 돌이란 건 없어.
회사에서 생산하는 제품 중에 이유 없이 존재하는 제품은 없죠.
돌이 외로워지거나 곤마에 빠졌다는 건 근거가 부족하거나 추일기에 실패했을 때지.
제품이 실패하거나 부진을 겪는다는 건 그만큼의 예측 결정이 실패했거나 기획 판단이 실패했다는 걸 겁니다.
곤마가 된 돌은 그대로 죽게 놔두는 거야. 단 그들을 활용하면서 내 이익을 도모하는 거지.
실패한 제품은 실패로 끝나게 됩니다. 단 그 실패를 바탕으로 더 좋은 제품을 기획해야겠죠. 공장과 사무는 크게 보아 서로 이어져 있습니다. 그 사이 공장이나 사무에서 실수와 실패가 있을 수 있죠. 하지만 큰 그림으로 본다면 우린 모두 이로움을 추구한다는 점에서 같습니다. 제가 생각하는 현장은 한성열 씨가 생각하는 현장과 결코 다르지 않다고 확신합니다.
Hello Pirates, this is Yoon for the 100 tips of the Plunder Pirates. This video is going to deal about the most creative layout, a very unique layout called Hexagram Layout. What is a hexagram? Have you ever heard about hexagram? Actually, it comes out from the I Ching. In Korean we say Yakgyang. It's kind of a classic of changes. It's a book of changes in English. It's an ancient divination text. One of the oldest Chinese classic from like 2nd century BC, is a long time ago. And these kind of also parallel with such as like yin and yang and u xing, which is in Korean and yang and bu hyung. So this I Ching is kind of very influential text, and some country like Korea have these kind of hexagrams in our flags. And this text has provided inspiration to the worlds of religion, psychoanalysis, business, literature, and art. So let's try to apply this hexagram diagram to our layout and see what's the consequences. I'm very curious actually. Will it defend well, like some kind of like these ancient mythology, like you have like some kind of imagination, expectation, like it's gonna defend very well, but let's try to check it out ourselves. Anyway, so as you can see in this layout, the mortar is in the center, and it's going to be surrounded by very symmetrically gun towers and the storages, and all is going to be surrounding and going to be protecting this mortar in the middle. So it has like 4 entrances, a death entrance, we call it death door, right? Death door. So you have this maze, so the troops have to walk all the way around a detour, and then when they enter the entrance, you're going to see that there are going to be storages in front of them, which is HP's 3500, is quite high. So behind that you have all these defense systems like mortars and the bunkers, or this pound grounder. So it's going to be very strong defense, and let's try to check it out. I really love this. I mean, the shape looks so pretty. It looks very, it has some kind of force. It's quite awesome. And previous video, you know, I've talked about the encompassed islands. It's kind of another strategy. So surround the islands with those these kind of all surrounding buildings. So it's going to form an encompassed island. So as you know, when you have seen my previous video, you can know that the troops going to be splitted if they do not break those islands first, the encompassed islands. Anyway, it's going to be quite successful and efficient, because anyway they have to deploy the gunners to take down those encompassed buildings, encompassed islands buildings. So anyway, the troops are being splitted. Okay, so let's try to test on this very unique And let's try to check it out, how much damage were being done to this island. That's what we are here for, and let's try to see the experiment number 1. It was 30% of damage. Quite very nice. Okay, let's try to see what's going to happen. So I think, anyway, whoever saw this island gonna think about, oh, this is quite very symmetrical and very creative. It has a maze, and it looks like seems like it has a kind of a trap there. Anyway, people have to think about to attack or not, because there must be kind of a booby trap for sure at the maze, and it's, you know, it's offsetted from the fence, and it's not that easy base. And as you can see now, it's being attacked by these, and you can see that all the troops are now detouring. Yes, it's a successful stuff. You can see that they're detouring. So you can see that in this video, it combines my previous videos, like about the encompassed islands. It shows, it's a combination of showing these kind of mazes stuff, and yeah. So it combines a lot of theories, and it's also offsetted from the fence, so it's about offset. You know, I previously talked about this video also. It's going to be much easier to defend your base. It's going to be more efficient if you have offsetted cannons back from certain distance from the fence. Okay, so that was it. That was for 30%, and quite nice defense. A lot of survived, and I like it. Okay, so this was experiment number 1. Let's go to experiment number 2. Okay, now let's see the defense log, and you can see that it's 20% damage only. So if it's below 20%, as you know, it's quite very well defended layout. So I can say that this defense layout is quite working. Now you can see that they're attacking from the northeast side, and you can see the bombers are now detouring and coming inside the death trap, the death maze, the death entrance. But it's quite strange because, you know, the bombers actually, they normally attack the fence directly. They just go straight forward, and then they just make a hole in the fence. But in this case, you can see that the bomber is detouring and coming inside this death maze. And of course, at the entrance at the middle, it's quite very well defended by bunkers and the gun towers. You can see that it's easily defended. So it's quite nice to have these kind of defense layout. But in the later, I will show you that actually I failed, like damage of like 72%, because I have changed the layout from this one. So actually at this diagonal side, which did not have the double fence, you have to have a beach, a wide beach. So it's gonna attract the troops inside the maze. So anyway, I'll talk about this one a little bit later. And this was like only 13% of damage, which seems to be very efficient. And I think it's very nice, well-working defense layout. Okay, so let's see where it's coming from. Okay, it's coming from the southwest. You can see that the voodoo hut is right now being torn down. Okay, it's just torn down. Okay, now some are entering to the south side of the ship side at the south, and some are detouring because of these encompassed islands. So this is like kind of a splitting the troops, which is quite efficient to have these kind of wide beach and these kind of encompassed islands. Okay, so now they're detouring. Now they're coming from the north side, but it has a ground pounder. They're all dead. Now let's go for the defense 3, and it was damage of 72%, and I was quite surprised. Like, I've been doing very well, like 20%, 13%, it was quite well, but why was it 72% in this layout, the hexagram layout, which I thought it was quite gonna be very nice and unique and very... Actually, I was making these videos for you guys, and then it was quite surprised to have 72%, so I was quite... do I have to abandon this layout? So that was my question. But, okay, let's look carefully what happened. Why is it 72%? Because it has almost the same layout since the beginning. Okay, now, but the difference between the previous one and this attack was that he had a lot of bombers. He had like more than like double bombers, and they're running very fast. And then the difference was that he had a witch doctor. That's, as you know, the resurrection skill. It's right now, it just resurrected a lot of skeletons, the dead bombers and dead gunners. So because of these skeletons, you know, the skeletons HP is quite high, and there are a lot of these skeletons. That means the defense tower is going to be very busy, and then it's going to be scattered. So that's why I've lost like 70. I had a 72% of damage. Excuse me. So what I thought was that then I should little bit make a modification to my layout. So it was my mistake. I reduced the beach, and I reduced the size of those entrances. I mean, so I put it more compact. As you can see, like the guild, the tavern, and it's all close each other. So I thought it's going to be much better to be a more compact, but actually in the end I'll show you that this was my mistake. So, but let's try to find out what is the problem with this one. Why is this going to be very bad layout compared to the previous one? But anyway, I try my best. So I put like these kind of storages in front of the bunkers, and ground pounder in front of it. There's a kind of these kind of storages, which is like 3,500, and it's quite high HP. So I thought, if I make everything within the range of these defense layout, I thought it's going to be better, but actually this was my mistake. So as you can see, these academy and like these guild house, it's all near to this kind of defense layout, defense towers like cannons, and look at this. So I made at this single fence a little bit more higher fence with a higher upgraded fence, but you can see that it's within the range of these cannons and gun towers. So I thought, why not just making just waste of those buildings? Let's try to put it within the range, so it's the troops going to be hurted and it's going to be damaged, cause a little bit more damage, but in the end you will see that it's not that efficient. Being compact is not efficient. You should know this, and you should bear this in mind, that try to offset the defense system from the fence. That is the best stuff. It's not that worth it to be close each other, because the gunner is gonna tear down one defense tower and then one the after. So it should have some kind of like some distance between each other. The defense tower should be a little bit far away, so it's not going to be torn down, you know, just one instance. Okay, so now I'm trying to reduce the beach size, and okay, so like that, but putting at least a small beach in front of the entrance so it could detour. So that was my point. Now let's look at defense 5, which was damage was 46%. 46%, I think that's quite a failure defense layout, because it's not that good. I mean, it should be at least, it should be lower than like 30%, that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, the problem of this layout was that I was just trying to make it compact, so it's going to be within the reach of all these cannons and defense system, but the problem is if you have a narrow beach, what happens is that your back, like when the first troops dies, people will try to deploy the second troops for more backups, but the backup troops gonna arrive earlier, and that's gonna mean more damage to your base in a short time. So I recommend you to have a as wider beach as you can make by decorations. Then that will delay the time of the backup troops for attacking. So anyway, this is kind of like lesson learned from these kind of modification of the layout. So though it's quite a long video, just try to bear in mind that you should have a wider beach as much as possible, and it's gonna anyway be more efficient for your defense systems. Okay, so now anyway, I had like 46% of damage. Yes, I succeeded in defending in the end, but I'm not satisfied with this. Anyway, so you should have, anyway, it's going to end you up in great damage. So next time, try to make wider beach as you can make by decorations or other small things. So and let's go to the defense 6, but it was damage of 83%. That's a lot. Anyway, I think it's the same reason. I'm just keep testing on this narrow beach. Just bear in mind that, remember that the the beginning of the layout, which had encompassed islands, which had a like wider beach, it was like only 13%. It was only like 20% of damage, but now it's getting a higher damage. So that means there is a problem with this kind of layout. So you should have more offsetted cannons and defense systems, or else you can. Let's look at this. What happens? Okay, the bomber and the brutes are detouring and they're coming in, and then the problem is the backup troops are arriving very early. The bombers, and they're making the hole in the fence. And now they're penetrating from that breach point. And then it's the end of the story. So you should have a little bit more offsetted cannons. So. And then it's going to delay or attack to the timing, so anyway, it's really important to have some distance between the attackers and the fence and your defense system. Anyway, that's a lot of damage, 83%, ouch, that's a lot of damage. And he also had a witch doctor, and end of story. So I made a little bit more modification because of I had too much damage. So what I added was the funnel layout. Remember the funnel layout that I have uploaded previously. So just trying to make these kind of narrow straights. Anyway, the good thing about these funnel layouts, these narrow straights, you can see, check it on other previous video with this link. You can see that when they arrive in this, the people have to put it in the beach at the seaside, so the troops going to be all concentrated in that spot. And if the mortar hits that spot like 2 times, all the gunners going to be melted down. They're going to be all killed. And these guild house is going to be all in the coverage, in the range of these defense towers. And this tavern, also at this all 4 corners, these buildings is going to have, it's going to be in the reach of this range of these gun towers. And of course, if you have a building there, it's going to attract the units near this maze entrance, so it's going to be good to have in the corners. That's what I thought. Okay, and try to put these kind of voodoo huts in all these buildings at the 4 corners, which is covered by these gun towers and cannons. So when they arrive being deployed at that beach, what happens is that while they're hitting the buildings like voodoo hut, it's going to be covered by these defense systems. And at the entrance there's going to be a mortar, and there's going to be a backup with the bunkers at the back. And as you can see, all these funnels, the end of the starting point of this funnel straight it's covered by all this. It's within the range of these mortars, and when you look carefully you can see that it's within the range of all these mortars. So try to adjust, see carefully where they're going to arrive, and you can see that the bunkers covering all the this left side, and at the south and to the east you can see that it's covered. You can see that at the middle is the more deepest than each left and right side. So try to move these decorations and try to make it within the reach. When they arrive at that spot, it's going to be hit by the mortar for sure. It's covered by the bunkers, and in front of it there's a storage which is about HP of about 3000, so it's going to be quite well defended at the entrance also. Same story to its symmetrical stuff, so it's same story to the all 4 sides. It's going to be the same story. I bet because there's a ground pounder, I bet nobody's going to come from the north side, because that's too strong. Damage of 50. Okay, now let's look at this defense system, and it's only 12% of damage, so that means this funnel layout is working very fine. So try to watch the other video I've uploaded called the funnel layout. What is the good thing of the funnel layout is that you can see that people will find a little bit hard time deploying their units, because it's not in a straight line. The beach is very it's like a Rias beach. It's very hard to deploy, so that's why he's coming from the corners, because it's easy to deploy. And so now they're coming, but the thing is that because the maze is very close, so they will just come inside to this death maze. So they're coming in, and the thieves are now coming inside the death maze, but they're gonna be killed before coming inside it. They just came in, but they have already a lot of damage by detouring and delaying their distance to the main base. And the bombers are coming in, but as you can see, because it's a straight, the very narrow straight, it's a very hard time coming into the base. So I think it's working. So try to apply the funnel layout if you can by strategically. It's going to be quite nice. And I think it was well defended. Great. Okay, that's how it goes. Okay, now let's see the other one. But actually, though I had a funnel layout, it was 78% of damage. What's going on? I can't. So there must be some problem. Okay, so this guy is a little bit more smarter than the previous guy. Let's try to analyze. The reason why I'm showing you this is, though it's a failure, by the failure you can learn something from it. So let's see what happened to this 78%, while somebody was like only 12%. Now look at this guy. He's coming in from the middle. Okay, now he's deploying the Juggernaut first. He's getting rid of all these death traps. There's going to be booby traps. He's eliminating those traps. And then the bombers are coming from the center. Look at that. This guy's quite smart. So he's deploying the bombers. What happens is that he's going to break down the walls at the middle. If you make a walls, I mean, if there's a hole in the middle, what happens is that it's going to dramatically shorten the distance to my base. So the maze trap is not working at all. So there's a hole, big hole, and what happens is that he's deploying all units in that center. So it's very short distance. So all units are coming straight right into my base, and that's why I had like 76% of damage. So as I said, it's all about delaying the time of the backup units. If you fail to delay the backup units, that means the failure. So that's why I had like about a lot of damage being made. And then he had also Witch Doctor. He brought 2 Witch Doctors. So I think that caused also big damage also. So his attack strategy was better than my defense strategy. So anyway, I failed. And I failed to read others' moves. So it's like a chess. Every decoration, every move you make, every decoration you make has a meaning. It should have some kind of meaning. So if you fail about that moves, that means that's going to end you up in the failure. And this guy's move was better than mine. So yep. So I think I have to make some kind of a modification for that kind of a Wiccan part. I should defend it well, so I will show a little bit later on, and I will try to fortify the middle part and try to evade these kind of failures. Anyway, it's quite fun, like it's kind of lesson learned, and you keep improving and you keep enhancing your layouts, and that's the purpose of this video. Okay, so anyway, we found out there's a problem with this funnel layout at the middle. It's going to dramatically shorten the distance of the attackers. So anyway, I have to do some kind of modification to these defense funnel layout. Anyway, try to put the highest level of this storage is at the front of the entrance, because it's about like 4,000, 3,500. So the HP is quite high. Look at that. But you can see that this the highest upgraded walls, it's also like 3,000. So actually putting a gold storage means like you're putting the highest fence at that spot also. So it's quite good to have. Just try to fortify, try to make a stronger fence and stronger defense at the middle, because the bomber is going to take a little bit more time to break down, to breach, make a hole in the entrance. And this side, as you can see at the middle, I fortified with these a little bit stronger, the most final walls right there. Putting the storage there also, but it's being upgraded, but I think it's going to be more stronger in the end. And putting the bunkers and the mortars at the back, and putting these booby traps at the middle. So though that is breached, it's going to be defended a little bit more better. And there's a ground pounder. Nobody's gonna come from that north side for sure. And I have added a little bit more wider beach at the middle, at the center of the funnels. So that was the biggest change. And let's talk about what's the lesson learned in here, this video. So it means that it's much better to have a wider beach and encompassed islands, and it's going to be much better to have these offsetted defense system from the fence, because it's going to delay the time, and it's going to be delaying the time of the back. And this is it, folks, and this was all about the hexagram layout and improving. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channels, and you're going to be updated with the notice of my new videos to come. Thank you for watching.